defending champion from Bakersfield, California. His opponent is Jeremy Edwards from Farmland, Indiana. This will be a race to 11 here in the final round, extended race to 11. 8 games of 8-ball, potentially 13 games of 9-ball. I'm Jason Bowman. I'm joined by Mr. Alvin Nelson, who's been here bringing you streaming coverage for the last several days here in under the sunny skies of Palm Harbor, Florida. Alvin, we made it, brother.
Greetings, Earthlings, and thank you, Jason Bowman, my good friend. This has been an amazing event. Welcome everyone out there on APA's Facebook page, YouTube, blasting out across the galaxy. This is going to be a tremendous match. This guy has been both of these guys are just shooting like, wow, man. It's going to be quick and fast and speedy. Look, Brian's already down on the break, ready to go. Boom. Made a ball, parked the cue ball down on the bottom rail. That one went in so fast I didn't even see what color ball it was. But we definitely were underway here thanks to poolplayers.com, your APA leagues. Check them out, and we'll get this match underway. This is the extended race, Jason. Is that correct?
Yep, Brian is undefeated thus far in the tournament,
Boom.
Which was double elimination. As we move into the final round, it is now single elimination. Again, we mentioned the extended race, which is now to 11. All prior races were to 7. Jeremy's lone defeat, I believe, was to Brian earlier today. Put him in the one-loss bracket where he has worked his way back. He just is coming off a very dominating performance of former champion David Rowell in the semifinal round. So it'd be interesting, Alvin, to see again. We talked about it with the ladies' finals. We've talked about it over the years, but Brian won that hot seat match. He's been waiting.
Yeah,
the hot seat. I call it the cold seat, but they call it the hot seat. So
hours.
We'll see how that plays in. Now, I talked to Brian a little bit during the last match, you know, because out of the 4 times he's won it, I said, how many times did you come to the one-loss bracket? And it's 2 and 2, so he's done both. But we'll see if that affects him here, having a little time off. Jeremy certainly looks to be coming into this final very hot at the moment.
I think Brian has a little bit more of the edge because he's going for his 5th.
He's got a little experience.
Yeah, so
he's
I
got a
think
little
it's going to be in Jeremy's head. I think it's going to be balanced out between the coldness of Brian's arm. I'll tell you, he warms up fast, man, and this is a good fast-shooting guy. He doesn't really – I mean, look at how fast he's even shooting this racket 8-ball. He's not even really thinking about it. He just sees the pattern so well. It doesn't mean he's going to hit this position every time, but, yeah, he looks like he might be.
Crowd's just been taking an awe here.
Oh, there she is.
Guest commentator coming in, maybe.
I'm out of here. So you guys have fun. It's been an honor to be with you, Jason.
Well, check back in with us, Alvin, as we go.
All right, I'm going to be here helping you guys.
As Brian continues on in the 8-ball rack. Going to be joined by a special guest here for us. The one and only Black Widow, Jeanette Lee, has made her way to Strokers.
Hello, hello.
Good evening. Good to see you.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
Got here just in time. The start of our finals here. We've got defending champion Brian Parks, who you're very familiar with. Obviously, we see him quite often. His opponent is Jeremy Edwards from Farmland, Indiana, I'm sorry.
Where I moved from. I moved from Indianapolis.
Okay, so you know Jeremy's area.
Yes, I do.
Cool, okay.
Yes, I do.
Brian leading 1-0. Of course, both of these gentlemen wearing red, so we will say Brian, if you're not familiar with him, is the player with less hair. Does that work for everybody? He has less hair. They're both in red shirts and gray pants. I know of no other way to distinguish them for those that don't know them. So, Jeanette, so what's up? Thanks for coming over.
Glad to be here. You're in my neighborhood right now.
We're in Jeanette's neck of the woods down here in Tampa, where she runs the Tampa Bay APA leagues.
That's right. But whenever I'm around, I mean, this is the place to be. Strokers, everybody knows this is where a lot of the good players hang out.
Sure.
And, Jose has always been a big supporter of pool in every way that he can. And everybody loves him a lot. There's a big family environment going on here.
Jeanette, so the players have opted to start in the 8-ball rack, which we've talked a little bit about, the combination of the 8-ball and 9-ball, which is unique to the U.S. Amateur Championship, as well as kind of our Masters format.
Right.
Curious what you think of that, though, the starting. I mean, if it was you playing in this match and you knew you had to play some 8-ball, some 9-ball, do you start in the 8-ball or 9-ball set?
It really depends on the individual player, what they feel like their strength is. I mean, if you have a big break, and especially the safety factor, I really have come to appreciate 8-ball a lot more than I did in my earlier years, because I always thought of 9-ball as the games that the pros play. So I was
Right.
almost a little bit of snobbish the way that I thought about 8-ball being just for amateurs, until the Camel Pro Billiard Series started and I really saw the pros playing 8-ball, and that's when my eyes really opened up, because in 9-ball, strategically speaking, it's kind of tic-tac-toe. You count by numbers, right? So
Right.
you don't have to make much decision. But with 8-ball, you really have to think about your pattern, your route, and how you're going to run the game out. And your safety play, you only really have to hide them from one ball. Whereas, it's interesting. Right now I'm just looking at the table. I think he chose solids because he knew that 11 ball was going to be a problem. Not that it's a problem now, but he got a nice leave out of it. Now with 9-ball, you only have to hook them from one ball, but in 8-ball, you really have to hide them from all of the balls, and that's kind of the way that Brian has left Jeremy. He doesn't have a great offensive shot here. I'm not sure that is it the 13 ball? I'm not sure that clears the 8-ball.
Steve might be able to help us switch cameras over here. Maybe give us another angle to look at. I don't know if that helps at all.
No, I think that the original one is probably... He looks like he's going for it, so it must clear the 8-ball. He doesn't have much of a choice here. There's not really good... Yeah. Oh.
Not quite.
He really didn't have much choice here. I mean, he had a real makeable shot and not a way to give him a solid defense. And even if it's close, if it's 50-50, close at all, I'm always going to go offense over defense, because at least with offense you can still get a little lucky.
Again, this is the second game of 8-ball that you'll see these players play. You'll see them play 8 games of 8-ball, potentially up to 13 games of 9-ball in this race to 11.
So right now what Brian's looking at is, I think the only real option here are solids, but he's got to be thinking about that 5-ball and what he's going to do with it. Whoa. This is nice. If he can actually hit that ball into the stripe, pocket the stripe, but leave his cue ball behind the 5-ball, then he's in a good position. Well, it worked out. I think he wanted to stay frozen on the back of that 5-ball. He made it, but he still has a nice shot, I think, in the side pocket. Had he not made that ball, he would have opened Jeremy up to making that ball in the side pocket. He needs to get to that 3-ball as quickly as possible. Well, he's looking at it like it goes.
Yeah, well, maybe we can switch over here again, Steve, if you'll...
Yep. Cool.
we got Jeanette playing with the controls back here.
That is number 2. Let's see. Yep.
Brian pockets that 3-ball.
Ugh. He just took a deep breath. He's got a nice shot on this 5. It's getting to the 8-ball. Now, he showed a little bit of a stroke earlier where he drew from the 4-ball all the way back down to this end of the table. Now, if that 8-ball clears to the far left corner pocket, he'll be golden. But it doesn't look like, because he's looking at whether or not he can shoot this 5-ball and slide underneath those balls. He's going to have to show a little magic here.
Of course, Brian, no stranger to the pressure that comes from playing in a final like this. He's a 4-time champion going for his 5th title here in this match.
Now that's a world champion shot right there. He couldn't have hit that better with ball in hand. He really couldn't have. Oh, he can clear it. And he does not have to call this pocket because it's an obvious shot into the corner.
Can't quite get the 8 to drop.
Gosh. Wow.
That'll give a window of opportunity here to Jeremy. Jeremy has played in the U.S. Amateur Championship once previously, but noted that he did not do that well. So I'm not sure exactly where he finished, but I believe that was last year. So he's come back strong this year. Of course, was undefeated going into the day.
This is going to say a little bit about how he's feeling. He's got an offensive shot here straight into the corner pocket, but he's still got a little bit of work over by that left side pocket. So he might choose to play defense here and lock his cue ball up behind those balls. Nope, he's going for it. But if he goes for it here, he's got to go for an all-out win. Yeah, if I'm not feeling comfortable, I'm going to play defense. He has an opportunity here. Not an easy one, but he does have an opportunity here to play defense. He walked over. He's just looking, okay, where do I want to leave my cue ball to really leave it tough for him? It's a nice shot.
So he opts to play safe there. That'll bring Brian back to the table.
Yeah, and I'll tell you, from what it looks like, he can't even jump the ball because of both balls hiding him from the 5-ball. He might have to do a 2-rail kick. Hit just past the right side pocket over to the far left rail and back over again for the 8-ball. Ideally with no English. And you don't want to, another thing, you don't want to hit it too hard, because if you hit it really full, you could follow it in and scratch. Looks like he's taken out a jump cue.
Yeah, we've seen some jump cues today. It seems to be kind of a theme. Seen Brian a number of times, David using the jump cue a couple matches back against Brian, so we'll see. He's looked pretty good with it, though, thus far today.
Yeah, but I mean, what is he looking to do? Surely he can't hit the left side of that 8-ball. Let's take a better look at that. Well, oh my God.
So Brian with the jump shot pockets the 8-ball.
Awesome. I didn't think he could see it.
Gets the Black Widow stamp of approval, I believe, and
yeah.
He's now up 2-0. Jeremy will prepare the rack. Brian will prepare to break. That is the second of 8 games of 8-ball that we'll see. So Jeanette, while we got a minute, what's up with you? I mean, you got a lot of fans that are tuning in, like always happy to hear from the Black Widow. Tell them what you're up to.
I'm actually starting to hit balls again, because we've got the WPBA has started putting on some more tour stops. I'm not sure that it's public yet, but I know that we have some in the works.
Cool.
I've been mostly focused on Tampa Bay APA and making sure that my players get a great experience playing in league play, and that's something that I never got to do when I was just starting up. It was just put your money on the table and let's go. And so I played in every little $5, $10 tournament that I could, and it was, it was great for competition. But in terms of camaraderie and having that kind of coaching aspect of it that comes in team play, didn't really get the benefit of that. So I'm proud to be representing the APA and being involved with that. So my children, my 3 youngest one, are still at home. They're 7, 8, and 13, and they love it here. They love the weather. Of course, we miss family. We've got family both in Indianapolis and New York City. But
so I don't mean to interrupt you, but it looks like what happened there is we had an 8 made on the break, but also a scratch, which results in a loss. That's a tough break.
Yes, it was.
So
quick.
Jeremy is back on the board and now with the break. So sorry, you were saying
No.
kids, New York, and
Yeah, poor Brian had to work so hard for his win, and boom.
that's all
Kinda
right.
handed it to
I
Jeremy.
think Brian will be all right in the long run. He's been here before.
Yes.
He knows sometimes the breaks go for you. So I'm curious. I heard through the grapevine, I think you're going to be joining us in Vegas in early December for the Hall of Fame
Yes.
banquet, and that they're bringing in all of the living Hall of Famers
That's
for
right.
the 50th anniversary. So
Yeah, I'm really
should be-
excited about that because even when I was inducted into the Hall of Fame, there were a good number of them, but there's not going to have been I don't know when there has been a gathering like this.
Never before in the history of billiard. So
Yeah.
if you're looking for an opportunity to see some of the greatest players
Yes.
ever all in one room, that'll be, I think it's like December 4th, somewhere around there, Monday, December 1st, early part of December, that first week.
Yes.
I think it's December 4th. But
They can find out more information,
yeah,
I'm sure.
yeah, if they go
Kind
to billiardsdigest.com, they can, they have tickets and things. But it should be a great night. Looking forward to that. Of course, the Moscone Cup coming up. I'm sure
Right on
you'll
top of that.
you'll probably take in some of those matches that day, right? That you're in town.
Yes.
Everybody's talking about the Moscone Cup. Of course, am I right in that you competed at one point
The first.
in some of the very early Moscone Cup?
Yeah.
Okay,
In the first ever.
that's pretty cool.
Yeah, the first and second, actually. Yeah, and then that was the last time he had the women play. I think, and I'm not sure really what made him make that decision because I know Vivian and I won all the women's matches and then trying to even it out, put us up against some of the men and we won those matches. So I went undefeated actually in both of those events. So not sure, but I know that it's an exciting event.
Yeah, little history lesson from the Black Widow on the upcoming Moscone Cup. Of course, you're watching live coverage of the final round of the U.S. Amateur Championship here at Strokers in Palm Harbor, Florida. I'm Jason Bowman, and I'm joined by the one and only Black Widow, Jeanette Lee, who has decided to join us as we navigate through this final round.
Yeah, I'll tell you the truth. I'm not sure what he was trying to. I'm honestly not sure what he was trying to do. Oh, I know what he was trying to do. I see. So hit rail first and just barely bump that 15 and have a three ball combo. However, the cue ball ended up too close on top of that ball.
This is Jeremy Edwards at the table. Jeremy from Farmland, Indiana. Been playing pool for 31 years.
Yeah, when your cue ball is that close to the object ball, you take a risk of fouling. Meaning the cue ball hits the object ball, but you don't get your stick out of the way in time, so you end up hitting it twice. Which is why he's probably going to elevate no matter what he does. Ooh, nice, but he doesn't have a shot. No reward at all. Boy, that's cold. He probably needed to hit it a little bit harder. Well, obviously. Now I don't think he can see a stripe, period. All right, so if he can do it, no, maybe not. I'm thinking if he can hit the end rail by where he was just standing, hit the 2 and let the cue ball slide down behind the, is that the 10 and the 3? The 2 balls in the bottom left-hand corner pocket? Oh, ooh, no, I don't think he can do it. All right. I should probably think out loud.
Well, that's what we have you here for. We want to know what the Black Widow would do.
Right, so if you can bend the ball, but that would mean he would have to masse a little bit. If he hits rail first and gives a lot of right spin. If he hits anywhere on the top side of that ball that's sitting next to the 3, he's got a decent chance to make the ball in the bottom left-hand corner pocket. But he's going to have to elevate just a little bit. A lot of right-hand English and not too hard. Ooh. See, that was the initial thing I was thinking that he could do, but without scratching, just slide underneath there.
Right. So Jeremy will give ball in hand to Brian. Certainly not something that you want to do in a big match against the defending champion, but again, we're looking at an extended race to 11.
Yeah. And
still a lot of time here, but
this is a wide open table, so whenever I'm looking at a rack, I start working backwards from the 8. So I look at where the 8 is and what are my last 2 or 3 balls that I'm going to shoot to get ideally on the 8. And then I work my pattern backwards, kind of like a maze.
sure.
So, you know, you start from the start point a few times before you realize that the way to go is start from home and work your way up to the start point. He wants to make sure he has a shot on that 3 ball and then a shot to get back out. 3 ball is going to be easy to make, but he wants to get back in ideal position for a pattern on the 8 ball.
Of course, we have some folks commenting, wondering about that question that's always out there about the amateur versus pro status, and of course they're speaking specifically about Brian, but again, very much an amateur player. We look at players on an individual basis when there's a question as to whether or not they're professional or not. A lot of criteria that goes into that, but we have deemed Brian still an amateur. For those of you who don't know him, he actually works multiple jobs and has a wife and a couple kids there in California, so no real aspirations to be pro. Yes, he does occasionally play in some pro events, but you know, again, one of the things that I think if you were to come here to Strokers and to talk to the players that have participated in this event, almost every one of them is going to tell you they don't want to win a tournament that Brian Parks is not a part of. So, you know, I don't think you'll have anyone here complain that he shouldn't be here, and most will say that they want him here.
Thank you.
We've got Brian currently at the table here, leading 2-1. Interesting how these guys are both kind of wearing the same color scheme. Red shirts, gray pants.
Red is a power color.
Yeah. I think they're trying to trick us, but the hair gives it away. All right. Brian now up 3-1 in this race to 11.
You know, when I'm playing a lot, I'm comfortable going into a match. Before I get into the match, I really try to separate myself from the crowd and think about what I'm like when I'm playing my best pool. What is my pace? What is my attitude? And just kind of going over what are the different scenarios that can happen in a match that can distract me or get me out of my game. You know,
Right.
whether it's someone sharking me, whether it's me missing an easy shot, or hooking myself, things like that. And how am I going to respond to that and being prepared to respond to that in the best way possible. That way you're not always kind of reacting to just letting yourself have random thoughts going into your head. I really want to be prepared for everything and realizing that it's important to really stay hungry for the win and to find the win and not thinking about, you know, your losses. Keep a good pace about you. Stay focused on the present, not on what already happened. Because with each make and with each miss, I get a little bit more comfortable with the equipment, a little bit more comfortable with the environment. And it's important to just really stay hungry to win.
How do the cameras affect you? I'm curious. I mean, because I know Brian is somewhat used to this environment.
Yeah.
Obviously, the spectators, the cameras, Jeremy, I don't know, and we'll see how that plays in. But I'm curious for you, and maybe thinking back. Of course, you're very experienced now playing in front of cameras. But when you were first being exposed to playing in front of cameras, TV or otherwise, how that impacted kind of your mental thought process.
Yeah, a lot of people ask me, do you get nervous or how do you stay so cool, calm? I still get nervous, but when it comes to TV, for whatever reason, I can honestly say I never think about the cameras. There's actually probably some videos of me turning around and smacking my head into the camera because I literally forgot they were there. And so I feel like that's kind of lucky, and it's up to I wouldn't know how to overcome that because that was never an issue for me. The bigger issue for me was the shot clock.
Ah, interesting.
I felt like the way that I would hear people, they felt like the camera was beating down on them and they were thinking about the millions of viewers and how that sharked them. I never felt that. But the shot clock, I almost felt like there was somebody running, like a hamster just running frantically in my head trying to race the clock. And I was always a fast shooter. And when somebody actually times me, I'm well under the shot clock.
Right.
But for some reason, it would shark me every time I would get into a TV match. And the way I got out of it is just continuing to get in TV matches to where you just get used to it. But whenever I've taken time off after a surgery, come back and I get back playing again, I get back into those finals, it's almost like I'm an amateur all over again,
right.
Feeling that shot clock. And sometimes you just need to get in there and do it until you feel more comfortable. And you can also replace thoughts. You don't really want to say, don't think about the shot clock. Instead, you want to say, focus on this or focus on that. I mean, he was pretty close. He was trying to get to that striped ball. Now looks like he's got a little bit of an angle where he can still one rail it, or let's say two rail it back over for the 9 ball.
Again, this is Jeremy Edwards at the table now.
I think he's got to punch it a little bit because it's not quite a comfortable angle. There's no way that's hard enough. Wow. I don't know if he got there, but I think he could probably still make it rail first. He doesn't seem to be too worried, so he must be able to see it. Walk around. He's trying to figure out if he makes it, how he wants to hit this ball.
We mentioned it earlier. Jeremy looked very, very strong in his semifinal match against David.
Oh, there's a stripe up there. What am I thinking?
Well, on the monitor, it almost looks like a dark-colored ball with a circle.
Look at this guy. Oh.
So as I was saying, we saw Jeremy in that semifinal round was very much in stroke, very confident.
Yeah.
He's coming to this final here, and I don't know that he's gotten there yet. Okay, the only win that he had was the scratch on the 8 ball that Brian pocketed. He just hasn't really had an opportunity to get loose when he's been at the table. So.
Yeah, he really hasn't. There's been a lot of, what he could use is just a wide open table where he can let his stroke out and get comfortable. But he's had these little, little matches where you've got to do a little bit of a strategic back and forth safety game.
Yeah, nothing has seemed to come easy thus far in this match for him. So
yeah, and
it's not going to get any easier here.
He couldn't see the ball, so what he chose to do is tie up the balls a little bit, making it tougher for Brian to run the entire rack out to at least buy him maybe one more shot at the table. Again,
this is a race to 11. We're now in the 5th game of the 8-ball set.
You know, I'll tell you, when you have this many, you would think, I think an amateur would think that Jeremy has the advantage here, but actually Brian does, because he really doesn't ever have to take a tough shot. He can just pick off a few balls and then play safety and force Jeremy to have to break open those balls. See, Brian's just an offensive player, so he's going to go ahead and break it out now, which is good. It'd be nice if he could catch his ball. Yeah, I was going to say flush and hit it a little bit harder than that to make sure that he gets up off the rail, but because ideally I would not want to be straight in on this 3-ball, but.
We mentioned the downtime Brian had between matches since he was in the hot seat, and it does not seem to. At least it doesn't appear that it's affected him negatively. He certainly appears in stroke.
You can see the colors on the balls better on this little one if you just want to double check.
That's the problem with when you end up straight in on the 3-ball. You can only go forward or backward, and this isn't the ideal way to get back down for that 7-ball, but I'm sure he'll work it out. Nice.
Again, this tournament being played on the 9-foot tables. Much different than our normal events in Vegas, which are played on the 7-foot tables, so a little added element of
Difficulty. There you go.
difficulty, and Brian certainly not making this look very difficult. Now leading 4-1 in the 8-ball set.
He doesn't mess around. He takes care of business. He's got a nice pace. And he's gotten a few ball in hands. He's gotten a few opportunities to just kind of let it all out there.
He's been very focused this week. You know, I talked to him earlier. He said he doesn't feel like he's playing his best pool. He certainly looks pretty good to me.
Yeah,
We've seen
he
him on the
looks
streaming
comfortable.
table a few times, but you know, again, he's going for his 5th title, and I know there's some folks online that are kind of thinking that maybe he doesn't belong here. But again, you know, I don't know many, Jeanette, I don't know many pro players that hop on a plane from California on their own dime to fly to Florida to play in an event that actually has no prize money. So, you know, if you're looking for,
That's true.
you know, it's just, come on, guys. He's just because you win an amateur event does not necessarily make you no longer an amateur.
Right.
Something to kind of keep in mind there. So.
It is tough with the men because, you know, since there isn't a formal pro tour, you really are kind of, it's really up to the individual that's putting on the event to determine,
Right.
you know, who should be allowed and who shouldn't be.
Well, and it's not like a lot of other professional sports where it's very definitive. I mean, you know who's playing this Sunday in the NFL. You know who's on a Major League Baseball roster.
Right.
You know, so. But in Brian's case, again, you know, we've looked at him. He's just not a professional player. And again, the other thing we talked about is I don't think most of the players that have come here would want to play or win a tournament that he wasn't going to be a part of. You know, nobody wants to be the guy that wins the U.S. Amateur Championship when the 4-time champion didn't show
Wasn't
up.
there.
I mean, so.
That's a good point.
I think.
Yeah, you know, it's funny because that's exactly how pros think. I mean, when people say, well, who do you dread playing, or, you know, who do you want to play in the finals, you know, if you won the tournament? And I will always say Allison.
You want to play the best,
or
right?
Kelly, or yeah. I mean, what you win a tournament where none of them are there, and what you win.
Exactly.
So I really identify with that because I want to play every single one of them, because when you win, it's the greatest win.
Exactly.
I would love to thump her and send her British butt home. Don't worry, we're friends. She's used to me.
So it sounds like you'll be having an opportunity soon, right?
Yes.
Some WPBA stuff
yes,
coming up. Is that
yes.
early next year that you guys are looking at some future events?
Yeah, in
I
January.
know usually, January's
But I
that's
think that
Soaring
there's going
Eagle.
to be, I think there's going to be maybe quite a few of them next year.
Very
I'm not sure
cool.
that I'll play in all of them, but I'm definitely looking forward to competing again, and I'd like to be able to do some damage,
Right.
and get out there. Of course, just like I'm sure that the majority of the women, we all do have other things that we do.
Sure.
I've got all my kids and I've got 2 businesses, and so we all have to make a living, and the pros is a tough way to, bank on everything
Right.
with, but it sure is a lot of fun. And actually, to be honest, I mean, Allison and Kelly and Kyung and Vivian and I, we really do respect each other. And we give each other a hard time, but we do have a lot of affection for each other, a lot of
Camaraderie,
common
sure.
respect. Yeah.
Makes sense. Well, that'll be exciting. Of course, one of the benefits of winning this event, at least for our women's champion, was Melinda Hong. She'll advance to a WPBA event next year, so
Yes.
sure she'll be patiently waiting to see what that schedule looks like and excited to move on and be able to compete with some of you guys. Of course, the winner of this match will move on to compete in the U.S. Open next fall.
Awesome.
Another
really prestigious event.
Great event held each October. Just wrapped up a couple weeks back. You ever played in the U.S. Open?
Won it.
Did you?
Yeah.
Well, not
Won
the
it.
WPBA, but the other U.S. Open, did you?
Barry Behrman's.
Really?
US
So you got a
Open,
green
yeah.
jacket?
Yep.
You got 2 green jackets.
Yes, I do.
You got the Hall of Fame green jacket and the U.S. Open green jacket. That's very cool.
Yes. Pretty awesome.
I'll have to have a slap on the wrist for not knowing that you won that one. Sorry.
It's okay.
That's cool, though. The
Yeah,
Black
it
Widow
was,
sporting the green. Are you bringing the green jacket
Because
to
I
Vegas?
think they only had a couple more after I won the U.S. Open in '94, and I think they had a couple more before, the whole PBT things happened and they stopped having the women's. And that really wasn't something on Barry. It was something that Don Mackey of the PBT basically said you have to choose. He was
Right.
forced to choose. Otherwise, I'm sure he would have continued to have the women. Taking a little bit of a break.
The guys are going to take a quick break, so we'll go ahead and mention that if you're interested in participating in next year's U.S. Amateur Championship, you can go to usamateurchampionship.com. You can get registered right now, today, for a preliminary round. If you place well enough in the preliminary round, you'll advance to the championships here at Strokers.
So now here's a question. If you, on the whole pro thing, the difference between the women and the men, you can't just pay money and get to play in the WPBA event, right? You have to qualify in some way. Now, for the men, a lot of the tournaments, you put your money in and you go. So to say, well, he played in pro events, anyone could, the cook here, the chef here could play in a pro event.
Right.
So obviously that shouldn't be the definition of what makes someone a pro. So how would people that have played in pro events find out whether or not they can play in this event, or should they just go ahead and register and take their chances, and if they can't, they'll be notified?
Yeah, we go through the entry list and kind of make sure that there's no. Now, again, I don't know why any pro player would want to enter a preliminary to play in an
Right.
event that has no. You know what I mean? It's just.
No,
I don't know
it
that
would
we
be
have
for
a
a
big.
title.
Yeah, I don't
I
know that
mean,
we
it's a
run
great
into a lot of
title.
issues with it.
I
And most
agree.
that are
I agree.
established pros
Right.
aren't really going to want to win a title like that, right? If they've already kind of established themselves as a professional. I mean, you wouldn't want to revert back and win an amateur title after you're a Hall of Famer in the sport, right?
You're absolutely right.
Now,
You're
what
absolutely right.
I want to know while we have a break, so we were talking a little bit about the Hall of Fame and the green jackets. So you're going to be sporting the.
But I'll tell you the truth. I have to look for it. We put it up for safekeeping, but I have moved since that
The
has
green
happened.
jacket, you got to find
Right?
it.
So we're going to have to find it. Not because I didn't treasure it, but because that's something I thought that I was going to be storing for, with my other memorabilia throughout my career.
Right.
So I will have to find it, and if I find it, I will be wearing
You're
it.
going to figure out a way to work it with some black.
Yes.
Black and
But
green.
it was a great, great honor. Certainly something that, well, you can't beat it.
Right.
I mean, I'm in the WPBA Hall of Fame. Believe it or not, there's an Asian Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
So I'm in the Asian Hall of Fame and the BCA Hall of Fame.
Very cool.
So,
Of course, this year, Darren
Pretty
Appleton and our good friend Dr. Q, Tom Rossman, will be inducted.
yeah, well deserved.
So it should be an exciting night. Again, the players just taking a short break here during the final. Brian Parks currently leading 4-2 over Jeremy Edwards in this race to 11. We've played 6 games of 8-ball. We'll see 2 more games of 8-ball before they switch to the 9-ball set. I'm your host, Jason Bowman. I'm joined by the one and only Black Widow, Jeanette Lee, kind enough to come out and join us for this final match here in her hometown, her stomping grounds. How do you like life down here in Florida? Pretty good when winter rolls around, I bet.
I love it. I love it. You would think that the humidity would bother me. It doesn't. I'm really not out that much. I'm not out just laying around in the heat too much, so it really doesn't bother me. The people are really nice. It's got a nice tempo. It's not too slow. It's not too fast, and people are very friendly. Everybody loves pool, so
Nice.
yeah.
All right, folks, Jeremy Edwards will have the break here. Again, looking to cut further into Brian's lead. Jeremy from Farmland, Indiana, which is apparently not too far from Indianapolis, correct? Is that a suburb of Indianapolis, Farmland?
What's he looking at?
Hold on 1 second.
They're both off, so she didn't hear you ask.
Alvin here working the master controls on the mothership. I want to make sure we mention Alvin Nelson, who is not currently joining us for commentary, but has been here working hard the last several days to bring hours upon hours upon hours of live coverage. One of the more thankless jobs.
Yes, he does a great job. And he
18
loves
hours
pool.
a day. Does love pool in the sport, which is one of the reasons that he does it. So we're very thankful for all his help. If you're just tuning in, you're seeing final round coverage of the U.S. Amateur Championship. Brian Parks, the defending champion, currently at the table, leading 4-2. Brian from Bakersfield, California.
Oi. He's got a shot on the 2-ball. He's got to get somewhere where he can look at that 5-ball. I think maybe he's looking at doing it now. Ugh. Yeah, I don't know. I don't think he wanted to. I don't think he wanted to clip that ball coming back.
You gonna attempt to control the mothership?
Yes.
Here's Alvin to save the day.
Let's see if we
There we
can.
go.
This is our main monitor here. This is the only thing that's
Right, but I want to see that. Oh, that is that.
sorry, this
I was looking to see if the 5-ball cleared. Yes, it does. Wow. Okay, he's got the 7-ball sitting there. Now, this is tricky. He wants to, I think, play the 5-ball in the same corner pocket. Perfect. I don't think he wanted to be jacked up.
Mike, who's asking about APA Nationals played on 9-footers when league is played on 7-footers. This event, as we've mentioned a few times, is actually open to both APA and non-APA members. It's a non-handicapped event that is played strictly on 9-foot tables. Our championships in Vegas, which are handicapped, are played on the 7-footers. So a little bit of a difference here. Again, this event, the U.S. Amateur Championship, definitely produced by APA, but open to both
All
APA
players.
and non-APA members. So some differences here. The use of jump cues is allowed. Push-outs are allowed. Probably the most similar thing you would see in league play would be like the Masters format that we offer. Kind of a similar format, similar rules.
Uh-oh. I'm a little stunned by that miss that Brian made because he missed it by 2 diamonds, it looked like. So I almost wonder if it skidded or something like that, just because he missed it by so much. But this is a huge opportunity for Jeremy. He's got to take advantage of this. Yeah, he's feeling he's feeling the heat a little bit. Now this is the thing. He can shoot that 10 ball and bump that ball in front of him and still have a shot to make this, I don't know if that's the 10 ball in the bottom right corner pocket. The only thing is he's got to make sure that he doesn't tie up that ball that's down here in on this end rail. You know, if he just barely bumps that ball, the ball he hits afterwards might tie up like that. Well, yeah, if he hit it with a little bit more speed, it would have made that ball bump back up out of the way, but pretty easy combination. He's got to hit this nice and easy because he doesn't want that ball to get away from him, the middle ball. Beautiful. See, I would be walking around right now and looking at exactly what angle I want on this next ball.
You pro players do a set routine of things every single time in each shot. You got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Check my stroke, check the angle, chalk the cue, get down every time. The same thing, right? Pretty much.
A pre-shot routine is ideal for
Mechanical,
consistent play.
robotic, almost.
I mean, ideally, I do recommend that all players have some kind of a pre-shot routine, because then you work out all the things that can cross your mind when you're down on the shot. Took care of business.
Jeremy Edwards pockets the 8 in the side. Now trails by just 1 game here to Brian Parks.
Wow. From 4-1 to 4-3, he's back in the game.
Brian will prepare the final 8-ball rack. Jeremy will have the break here momentarily. Again, this is a race to 11. As we mentioned, this will be the final game of 8-ball before these players take a few balls off the table and start playing 9-ball. So we'll see how that affects things as we go. Sometimes that can change the momentum a little bit. For those of you that are sending us private messages on Facebook or commenting about how you can get involved, of course, you just go to usamateurchampionship.com. You can get registered for next year's event. You'll play in a preliminary round. Top placement in the preliminary round will get you a trip here to Tampa for the championship rounds of the U.S. Amateur. So
And you
Jeremy
can
with the
like
break.
you can like my Facebook page, Jeanette Lee, the Black Widow. Give me a shout out. Say hello.
Plus, she posts like cool pictures and stuff.
Yeah.
Lots of fun stuff, right? I mean, it's Jeanette Lee's page. Why wouldn't you want to be liking that?
Thank you. Thank you. All right. What do we have here?
Jeremy's just kind of grinding away here. The moment does not seem to be too big for him. It's not, just fighting it for a little bit there, but he's kind of turned the tide now and see if he can put together a nice little run in this final game of 8-ball. Nice audience tuning in, almost at about 1,000 viewers.
Boy,
Want
I'll
to
tell
thank
you
those that are
what.
joining us to watch coverage of the U.S. Amateur Championship.
Now you see that ball right there, that 2 ball? Pretty sure that's the 2 ball. I mean, he's in perfect place to open that ball up. Maybe get in front of his 15. I don't know when he's going to have a better shot on that 2 to bump that ball out. The ball that's next to the 9. And when he bumps it out, he opens it up and he still has the 3 ball, the 4 ball.
Jeremy wanted to make sure we said hello to his friends at Overtime Sports Bar back home, and of course his wife. He said, my beautiful wife, Gina. So maybe Gina's tuning in to watch. If she's not here, I'm not sure. She may actually be here at Strokers. One of the nice things about the streaming coverage is folks back home being able to
Oh, my gosh.
follow what's going on.
Phew. That was a bad miss. He hit it really in a tentative fashion. You need to kind of, even if you're hitting it softly, you need to take an appropriate slow backswing and a smooth stroke. That was kind of more of a poke and hope. You have to fight all those nerves inside you. You've got to know that instead of thinking of it as choking, think of it more as an adrenaline rush and that you deserve to be here, but no one's going to hand it to you. You've got to take it. So you've got to make sure that regardless of what you're thinking, your body moves fluidly. That was probably the best piece of advice that I got from a pro. Was Mike Siegel in my first year. He happened to come through a pool room, and I said, what do you do when you get down on the shot and you're not sure? Shot clock's ticking, and you've got to go. You know you've got to go, but you're not comfortable. He said, when you don't have it, you fake it. Fake it like you know it's going in, regardless of what you're thinking. And it has won me quite a few, because you're not always on. You're not always going to be in the zone. And you have to choose to stroke the balls like you know they're going in, regardless of how what your mind is thinking. And a lot of times those balls are going to continue going in because you still moved your stroke smoothly.
Jeremy Edwards back at the table here.
Blah.
I think that's probably what he's thinking at the moment, but
Yeah.
he'll have to find some type of solution here. Looks like he's made a decision one way or another. Well, maybe not. Gonna rethink it.
This rack is a mess
4, 5, 6,
here.
7,
There's all kinds of
8.
stuff that needs to be done.
Thanks for that, Alvin.
Yeah, it really helps. 3, 5. All right, they're playing a little bit of defense here, huh?
Everything pushed to one side of the table here. Gina Edwards is watching online her husband play. That's nice. Not able to be here, but able to tune in. Of course, the streaming brought to you by the APA and our good friend Alvin Nelson. Been here working hard all week.
This is a monster matchup. They're both definitely thinking defense right here.
Yeah, if you're a fan of the defensive part of the game, then this is very much for you. If you're rooting
still
for
gonna hate
offense, you
this.
might want to hit the bathroom for a minute and then come back, you know.
Even if you're defensive, you're not going to like this. Ugh. Oh, he was able to see it.
Of course, this event is being held at Strokers in Palm Harbor, Florida, just across the bay from Tampa. Wonderful part of the country, particularly this time of year as the weather's cooled off over the most of the states. Still a daily temperature here of upper 70s, so again, get on board for next year. USAmateurChampionship.com.
He didn't want to clip that ball. He's still got a nice shot, almost straight in. Just enough angle to float over a little bit. I think that's the 4 ball next to the 13 ball on the left side pocket. And ideally, if he could shoot that ball, don't even worry about the 6. The 6 you can get whenever you want. It's getting to that 5 ball. Use this opportunity to get to that 5 ball if you can. I can't tell exactly the lineup that he's got in front of the side pocket, but
We're
no,
just,
yeah, no, I got a better.
We're just
was
under
good
an
right there.
hour into this final match, this race to 11. Final game of 8 ball being played here. It'll be all 9 ball from there on out.
Okay, 4 ball, 6 ball, 7 ball, 3 ball, 5 ball, 8 ball. No. He got away with that, though. He's got a nice shot on the 7 ball. I'm not sure. I mean, he hit it hard like he really wanted to bump that ball. I don't. It just feels like he's not being as careful as he was before. I mean, you can still have a nice pace, but walk around, look at the shots to make sure he's not above the 3 ball like he is again. Oh, that was a nice shot. Right, that's what we call a kill shot, low inside English, so low right-hand English on that shot. But now, somehow, he's got to get to that 5 ball. Is that the 5? That might be the 1 ball. Nope, too much. Yeah, the 1 ball. He's getting his speed controls, getting the best of him there. Oh, man. He had miles of room.
Yeah, it's tough. This is range.
Yeah, it's hard for me to tell from this vantage point.
All right, so Brian will take the final game of the 8 ball set, and he will take a 5-3 lead as the players migrate to the 9 ball set. Brian will have the break.
I wish we had a big screen here right sitting in front of me where I could really get a better view.
Yeah, one of the challenges
Our
of kind
cameras
of the
are a little
setup here is
small
we
here.
are, we're a good 50, 60 feet from the actual table behind a very large screen, so we're not actually seeing play on the table itself, but viewing monitors here, which can sometimes make the coloration of the balls a little bit difficult to tell. And I notice it's harder on the blue. I feel like it's a
Yeah.
little bit harder on the blue felt than the green.
Really,
So,
I actually
I don't
thought
know why,
that,
but I've seemed to have more of a struggle reading the
actually, from what I understand, the reason why we moved to the blue was because it was easier to
decipher.
differentiate. Yeah.
Small mini traveling setup these guys APA has.
All right, Brian will have the break here in the 9-ball set. Again, this is a race to 11. Brian leading 5 games to 3. Pockets a couple balls on the break. Brian out of Bakersfield, California. He's the defending champion, looking to successfully retain his title here.
Oi. He's rushing a little bit, you know. Come walk around, look at it. Make sure you get
He's going for that
where you want to go. Yeah.
extension there.
Yeah, you could see he's a little bit frustrated because he's not getting where he wants, but he's not doing what he was doing at the earlier in the match when he was walking around and really looking exactly where he wanted to be.
Some folks tuning in from Korea.
Ooh.
Viewers all over the world.
반갑습니다.
You've been there, right?
Hello. Yes, I have. I believe it or not, I was on Dancing with the Stars in Korea.
That's
Almost
right.
killed myself.
That's right.
Hardest work of my life.
I'm going to YouTube that later. Jeanette Lee,
Dancing with the
Korean
Stars,
Dancing
yeah.
with the Stars. That'll give you folks something to look forward to when the stream ends. You can Google that and watch Jeanette's dance routine.
I don't know how many you'll be able to find. I found one. I had them all up there, and then, you know, we got busted, and they took them down. My waltz was nice. Salsa, not so much. These hips don't shake the way that I'd like it to.
Well, Brian is about to go up 6-3 here as he pockets the 9-ball in the corner. Again, this is a race to 11, final round coverage here of the U.S. Amateur Championship from Strokers in Palm Harbor, Florida, where we got started last Wednesday with the ladies of the Women's Championship. And that concluded with Melinda Hong of Los Angeles, California winning. So could have 2 California champions here. We'll see. Again, still a lot of match to be played for Brian Parks, who is breaking, and Jeremy Edwards, who's just off camera at the moment. Brian again with the ball on the break. Seeing any issues on the table for Brian here, Jeanette?
Looks good. I think, well, it just got a little bit more complicated, but not really. I mean, he's going to shoot the 3-ball. Yeah, there you go. Just like that. You know, it's funny, it's a little deceiving because it looks like it looked like he was aiming really low as though he was going to draw the ball, but obviously he let the cue ball go forward. Six to 3. He's just trying to decide whether or not he, you know, wants to follow to the left side or if he wants to punch it to the right side. And this is the correct option. This is nice. 2 rails right around the 8 ball. Well, let's say 3 rails. Oh, no, yeah. You know what he did? He followed it, and he was trying to get it to shorten up with reverse, but when you reverse it, it kills the ball. So he would have had to hit it a lot harder, really. It was more natural to give it, you know, center outside English and go 3 rails around for the 7 ball. He's got this. Oh,
Uh-oh.
God.
Brian scratches in the corner after pocketing his ball. Golden opportunity here, I think, for Jeremy.
You know, when he banked that ball cross side, it's important not to hit a high ball, because when the ball's that close, the cue ball wants to follow forward and loop, and it comes out longer on the shot.
So Jeremy takes advantage of the mistake by Brian. Brings the score to 6-4. Brian still leading by 2 games. He'll prepare the rack. Jeremy will now have the break.
So exciting. I want to play pool. I want to play pool. I want to break some balls, beat some boys.
And that'll make a great
And
segue
girls.
into the fact that our spring sessions are starting up soon in APA. So if you'd like to get involved in the leagues here in Tampa, in Jeanette's league, APA league, or anywhere around the country, go to poolplayers.com and find your local APA league operator. Get involved. Of course, we've got the new team captains format, which is very cool. I know a lot of people are excited about. So something being added to our World Championships in August. You can find out more about that at poolplayers.com.
Yeah, the captains just do so much to motivate the team, organize, you know, strategize, inspire the team, and really create that bond between them. And so it's great that they have an event to really celebrate what our captains do for our teams.
Now that'll be I think the prize payout for that is somewhere around $60,000, so $10,000 in the first place team, and that'll be a combination of 8 ball and 9 ball, which is kind of cool. I know Masters has been very popular, USAM format very popular, with the combination having to play both, so something to look forward to.
Ugh. Yeah, he's not quite as comfortable with the speed. Earlier, when I was watching the shot, I thought, wow, he's got really good speed control. He was on the correct side of the ball. In the last few racks, he's really, even when he got away with it, he was letting his cue ball get on the wrong side of the ball.
Yeah, and you have to wonder for both these guys. I mean, it's been a long day. It's been a long tournament. Is fatigue starting to kind of set in? I know Brian had some downtime between the matches while he waited for an opponent, so...
Yeah, it's definitely mentally draining. I mean, physically also, but especially mentally draining. Ooh. Okay, Jeremy, if you want it, you need to take it.
Again, Brian showing some chinks in the armor here, and certainly another opportunity for Jeremy to inch ever closer to tying this match up.
See, I love it when I see somebody walk around the table. You know, before they get up, especially if they've been sitting for a little bit, get up, walk around, get really comfortable, look exactly where you want to be. Oh. All right, this can get a little bit tricky. He looks straight in on this 5, but if he clips this with an angle, he can go off that rail and get behind that 7 ball. He's got to make sure that he... Draws straight out. Oh, he had more of an angle than I thought. I didn't think he could cut that much of it. Walk around, Jeremy. Walk around. That's right, baby.
Kind of curious who the folks at home are rooting for in this match. Are you rooting for the underdog Jeremy? Or are you rooting for the U.S. Amateur Championship version of the New England Patriots, Brian Parks here, and his drive for 5? Who are you rooting for? Let's hear you. Got a lot of vocal chatters or commenters out there. I'd love to hear who they're rooting for here.
I'm rooting for the underdog currently. Once it's tied
that.
up.
You can't say
Well,
that.
I don't know either one of them, but it makes for an exciting match. I'm commentary. Don't you want an exciting match? Come on.
We're rooting for a tie till the end.
Right.
That's
Once
how
it's
we
tied
root.
up, it's fair game, and then I'm pulling for both of them.
All right.
I want to see great play, but
Looks like a pretty even split. Some folks want the drive for 5. Some folks want the underdog. That's good. As our viewership reaches 1,200. All right.
jumped up a little bit there. Ugh. He's still okay, but I'm sure that's not where he wanted to be. This is where you've really got to put some lead weights in your shoes and just stay down, stay planted, stay committed. Whatever spot you see on that 9-ball, dissect it by 1,000. Oh, man, it looks like he's trying to draw that ball.
Tough miss there for Jeremy.
See, now, did that not look like he was aiming to draw that ball? And he followed it. Is it me? Smart, Jason. Just don't comment.
No comment. He knows what he's doing a lot more than I know what he's doing, so I'll stay away from that. But I do know it's going to give Brian another opportunity here at the table, which is never a good thing if you're trying to win against him. But we'll see what he can do with the 9-ball here. And he manages to cut it into the corner and
Yeah,
take a
almost missed it.
7-4 lead here. Again, and that's one of the things that we've seen from Brian over the years. Everybody's going to make mistakes in these matches. He has this keen ability to really capitalize when the opportunity's there. And
Yeah.
sometimes what we've seen is that, I don't know if it's a mental thing that his opponents, you know, they know they're playing a former champ or what, but they don't seem to capitalize as well on his mistakes as he does on theirs.
Right.
And we've seen that now for several years. So Brian has a 7-4 lead in this race to 11. We are now in the 9-ball set. We started with 8 games of 8-ball. Then we transitioned to 9-ball.
It's so tough to quiet your mind and to not think about the things you could have done differently. It
Sure.
really is. And so that's why the pre-shot routine is so important, because it takes your mind off things. You just step by step, you do what you need to be doing step by step, and it keeps your mind from just kind of going off and beating yourself up, things that can't help you.
Right.
I just know that if I'm them, and I know that I've had opportunities, both of them have had opportunities here, I'm going to want to make sure to play hungry, let it out, be a beast. If I get the opportunity, I'm going to go down swinging.
Yeah.
Let's swing, instead of kind of second guessing and jumping up and doing all that poking stuff. I mean, if I miss, I miss, but I want to swing. And sometimes that's not natural in us. I have to remind myself, come on, Jay, let's go. You've got to help yourself. Look at that.
Nice shot there by Jeremy on the 2 ball.
All right.
Again, Jeremy has reached the finals in only his second visit to the championship rounds of the U.S. Amateur Championship. So very impressive follow-up to his last appearance. Trying to navigate through one final match. Jeremy just not quite comfortable with what he's seeing there. Up, down.
I mean, what he's looking at is he has a choice between cutting it in the side or in the corner. If he cuts it in the corner, which he probably has better sighting on, he's messing with the 8 ball in the side pocket. So more than likely he's going to cut the 3 in the side. But he wants to make sure he gets shape on the 4 ball.
Nice shot.
Oh, careful. Yo, too much. Dadgummit. Just barely too much. Oh, no. There was no slumping of the shoulders. I guess you can spin it in. Oh, that's no good. Everything's looking tough. He's got me all nervous. What are they saying? Tell
I'll
me,
leave
what
it
does
alone.
it say?
Oh, it was just somebody commenting about how many beers Brian may have. Brian is known to drink. I don't know that he drinks a lot, but when he plays, he drinks. So they were curious how many beers he's had at this point. It's basically the gist of it. I'll leave it at that.
Got
But
it.
At the time, I don't see him drinking anything. So
I just saw something about Jeanette's commentary, so I thought. What did it say?
They said
Let's see.
Jeanette's commentary is amazing.
says, I love Jeanette's commentary. I really like her mindset and the way she thinks.
Aw,
She has
thank
a lot
you.
of. She says a lot of things. Something and teach me. So
She takes me to another dimension.
something, yes. So complimentary. Of course, yes. This is
Well,
the Black
thank
Widow,
you.
Jeanette Lee. This
Thank
is
you,
the
thank you.
the real deal here with us here at Strokers. Jeanette, of course, here in Tampa now, so she decided to stop on by and take in this final match of this year's U.S. Amateur Championship. See if Jeremy Edwards here can slay the dragon that is 4-time champion Brian Parks.
Tell you what, he's after it. Okay, his cue ball's getting better. Oh, yeah. Some nice strokes. He stayed down a little bit better now.
Jeremy pockets that 9 in the corner, and in doing so, once again pulls within 2 games of Brian Parks. Now trails by a score of 7-5. Again, this is a race to 11, an extended race here in the final round. So we'll see if Jeremy can put together some games. It seems like the entire match he's kind of been chasing and chasing and chasing. We'll see if
Right.
now he's got the opportunity to kind of put together a nice run.
So what do you guys think out there should be going through Jeremy's head right now? Because I know how I think. When I'm coming from behind, I get out of a good, I get out when I'm supposed to. I finally get an opportunity. I run out, starting to feel more comfortable. What is the mantra? What is the thing that you're going to put in your mind to win this set out?
And you're wanting to know what the viewers
I
think,
wanna know
because
what
for
the
me, I'm
viewers
thinking,
think.
how did I ever get to the final of this
Right.
championship? That's what I'm personally thinking. Like, what happened that? But you're wanting to know what they think when they
Yeah,
have the opportunity.
I want to challenge you guys out there when you're watching great players play to say, what would you do in those shoes? Because I feel like that helped me so much prepare for the WPBA.
Interesting.
Is I put myself in their shoes, and the more I can do it, the mind doesn't always know that it's not you out there playing. It's following right along to where this becomes comfortable. How are you thinking? I know that I've been sitting down a lot. I showed some heart. I got in there. I did the work. And whatever it took to run that rack out, do it again. Don't get too comfortable. Make sure that you let your swing out a little bit. Stroke it like you know it's going in. All of these things, and say, yes, I deserve to be here. And just make sure, that you pace yourself. You walk around, you look, all the things that got you the last win. Keep it going. And make sure that you don't start speeding up. And as soon as you feel like you're a little bit iffy, make yourself get up. Really make yourself get up so that you don't fall back into old habits or bad habits.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's important because, again, I never want to be at the mercy of whatever goes into my head at any given time, because that's a scary thought. You don't want my brain to just go wherever it's going to go. I
Right.
want to control it in a match. I want to be a beast. And that means I need to tell my mind what to think.
Sure.
And that's how you control who comes out to play the next opportunity that you have. You want to sit there and you want to be ready. And you want to know that, we go, oh, look at this. You want to know that whatever your opponent leaves you, whether it's a wide open table or whether he leaves you hooked, you're prepared for that. And you're going to go into it with the right attitude. You want to be sitting in your chair knowing that no matter what opportunity comes your way, you're going to be ready for it.
Mm-hmm.
Because you'd much rather be prepared and not get an opportunity than to get an opportunity and not be prepared.
Well, I got to think from Jeremy's perspective. I mean, here he is in the finals against a guy that he's well aware of his credentials. And
Right.
he's going toe-to-toe with him. I mean, I know he's down a couple of games, but, that score could be a couple games different
That's right.
without some mistakes. So,
And, he showed a lot of heart. I mean, there's a lot of things that were a little bit iffy that he took down. So he definitely is showing that he's come to play, come to win. But Brian's not going to give it up easily.
no, and Brian most certainly has that experience factor, right, that you never want to discount. I mean, the ability to have been here before and kind of understand the pressure that goes with it.
Now, do we know how many other tournaments he actually plays in? Because this is only once a year.
Yeah,
so
well, you'll see him out in Vegas at our events a lot of times,
Right.
And it's always interesting because, again, there's a lot of folks that say, well, he's a pro and da-da-da, but I think maybe once he's won our singles championship. So there are
Right.
players that are beating him out there.
Right.
For whatever reason, though, when he gets here, he feels very
His
confident.
sweet spot.
He's on a 9-foot table. It's just seems to be his environment. This seems to be, again, he's like the New England Patriots of the U.S. Amateur Championship. He just wins when it matters most. So, but again, you get him in Vegas, and I believe one time he's won our 9-ball shootout. But that means every other time he's out there, somebody's knocking him off.
Right. Because cue ball speed is back.
Well, this is nice. Someone said they love your commentary, and you're also so pretty, and you're their favorite player.
Yay!
that.
Thank you.
That's pretty good because Alvin
Thank
and I
you
have
so
been getting
much.
beat up pretty good. So we bring you on, and suddenly flowers and sunshine.
I'll take it.
And Brian Parks, all flowers and sunshine
I'll
with that
take it.
rack. Pockets the 8 in the corner. Now has an 8-5 lead. So just when we think Jeremy is inching ever closer, Brian inches ever further away. Again, we're in a race to 11. So still a little ways to go, but Brian getting ever closer now, 3 games away from securing his 5th U.S. Amateur Championship, and he will have the break.
you've got to assume that these guys, I mean, they're good enough where they can put a few racks together.
Sure.
Maybe they're not always going to do it, but they can. And I noticed they haven't been. And you can't wait and hope that Brian is going to miss, because he's not going to miss too often. I mean, I remember that one ball that he missed by 2 diamonds, but other than that, I mean, he's going to take advantage of his opportunities. So you have to be ready to really put a few racks together if you want to beat this guy.
Players are going to take a quick break. We've got a question here about who the toughest opponent you've ever played is. That's what they're asking on the stream.
Toughest match against the greatest player I ever played is Efren Reyes.
Ever?
Ever.
Toughest ever, okay.
I mean, I will say the greatest player I ever played was Efren Reyes. Did he play his greatest against me? Did I have, tougher matches? I did, but I think it's just because we were horsing around, kind of. He beat me in the Philippines, but I think I have him on such a pedestal that I didn't really feel like it didn't feel like I was playing a tough competitor. He's the greatest.
Right.
I'm in his,
You played him
I'm
in
just
the Philippines.
around him. Yeah. Oh, yeah. It was
Really?
a big match against, the Black Widow against Bata, the Bata Reyes, and I was more in awe of just the experience and knowing that even though he's a friend,
Right.
and I've been around him and I've gotten to know him, it's still, in my opinion, an honor to play him and an honor to be around him. And so I was more in the moment of enjoying that versus, when I play against the other women or when I play in men's tournaments, I mean, I'm just out for blood. And it's a completely different experience. So, I mean, Allison, in terms of the women, I have to say, even when she's not playing her best, I still think as a whole, she has a decent knowledge of the game, but she is a great competitor. I mean, her heart, her attitude is right where I think it should be for a man or a female.
Right.
And in terms of the men, I would have to say that I've kind of almost played them all. I mean, I've played Nick Varner and I've played Buddy Hall and I've played Johnny Archer, and they're all fantastic players. Shane Van Bonen
Pretty
is
impressive
a
list of
beast.
names, yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, I've been around a lot of them, but I didn't really answer your question, did I?
Well, I just said the best. You said Efren, and you said Allison.
I mean, he's the greatest player, but in terms of like matchups, there were a couple matches at the Reno Open that I had against some of the guys there that I thought were pretty tough. But
Somebody had asked if you've ever played Ronnie O'Sullivan, and I know that you have because I saw a TV deal, and I don't know how serious the match was, but you guys played. He had a thing that aired over in Europe on like Discovery Channel or something over there that was kind of cool.
yeah, I did actually. Yeah, there was a science game, but he, listen, he's a champion. He's great, and he barely. I think he barely beat me. No, or actually, I might have beat him. I don't remember, but it was just a few minutes away a few balls away from each other. We were playing straight pool, but he wasn't playing seriously. He really didn't know the game. He didn't appreciate the game.
Right.
I mean, he was very polite, very respectful, very pleasant guy. I don't know why. I heard things, the bad boy of snooker or things like that, and I didn't get that feeling from him at all. He wasn't. He was very professional and pleasant.
Cool.
But he did not like straight pool. It was boring to him, which amazes me because I think straight pool is very similar to snooker.
Sure.
He liked nine ball the most. More the wham bam kind of thing. But I really enjoyed playing him, and the fact that we were close. Especially with me not playing that much, I really didn't think much about it. I could have
Right.
won or lost, and I still would have thought no, because if he was to play all the time and play straight pull seriously, he would have tortured me.
So we're back in action here at the U.S. Amateur Championship at Strokers in Palm Harbor, where Jeremy Edwards is looking to draw a bit closer in this race to 11 against Brian Parks, who's currently seeded.
Yeah.
Jeremy from Farmland, Indiana. Started
Oh, he's
playing.
lefty. Yeah.
Started playing because his grandparents had a pool table.
That's the right way. There you go. I mean, that was a good stroke, considering he was stretched out and had to bend that.
I'll give Jeremy credit. He's a battler. I mean, again, it doesn't seem like anything here has come overly easy throughout this match, but here he is, hanging tough.
Ooh. Well, that worked out for him. He wanted to actually hit it. I was wanting to say he wanted to hit it all the way down and have the cue ball be on the middle of that end rail, just squeeze right between the 8 and the 9, so that he could shoot the 7 ball and come one rail up for this 8 ball naturally. He could have rolled the ball and had the cue ball in the middle of the table, but then it would have been just a tiny bit more difficult to get from the 7 to the 8, which sounds silly considering the fact that it's hanging in the pocket, but. All righty. Stay down and you've got it. See, this is so normal to go low right, but I would just kill it with no English. There you go.
All right, Jeremy Edwards picks up his 6th game in this race to 11.
Jeremy.
As we continue to root for a tie match.
I am rooting for a tie match.
We always root for the tie match. Brian preparing the rack.
This is actually a pretty good match. You know, not a whole lot of errors. I mean, there was earlier, you know, Jeremy was definitely making more errors than Brian, but he's made up for that.
Again, if you're just now tuning in, which a lot of folks are through our Facebook Live feed, you are seeing final round coverage of the U.S. Amateur Championship. This event got underway last Wednesday and concludes this evening here at Strokers in Palm Harbor. Watching Brian Parks of Bakersfield, California. Jeremy Edwards from Farmland, Indiana in a race to 11. Brian at the table here. Again, this is a race to 11. Brian Parks leading 6-8 currently. For those asking in the chat about the score, you can see the score noted on the cards in the background.
So it looks like he's got to hit the 3 ball, right? Is that the 3 or the? I think that's the 3. Oh, that's the 5. So he's. Okay, so that's the 3. All right. You know, then I might hit that. I might hit that softly and just bump that ball and have the 3 be blocked by the 5 a little bit, than to try to expect that I'm going to hit it through rails and something's going to go in. No, that is the 3 ball. That was the 3 ball. Man, you're messing me up. You told me that was the 5 ball. No, because then I would have went probably down on this end and kicked it 1 rail and hit the 3 soft to the 5.
Brian looks to be in pretty decent shape here. Slowly but surely cleaning them up.
Looks pretty straight in. It's a nice straight draw. Interesting that he uses an open bridge for that draw.
For the folks asking about entry fees and preliminary rounds, I encourage you to go to usamateurchampionship.com for all that information. Of course, you can actually register for next year's event. Registration is now open, so all the event info is there for you. As Brian cuts that 9 ball into the corner pocket, extends his lead to 9-6.
You know, the open bridge is a superior bridge. You have better sighting, you know, better aiming, better feel, better feedback on your tip to know what's going on with your stroke, which the closed bridge can often cover up what you're actually doing wrong, whether you're steering or twisting or anything like that. But when it comes to a straight draw shot, especially when you're hitting it medium to firm, I like having the closed bridge. I find that it gives me more control. Nine to 6.
9-6. Brian Parks has the break here. Needs just 2 games to secure his 5th U.S. Amateur Championship title. But he's dry on the break. We'll give Jeremy Edwards another opportunity here at the table. Jeremy's going to need to, if he's got a run in him, now would be a good time to put it together. Again, this is a race to 11. Brian now 2 games away. Nice crowd that's gathered here at Strokers to take in the final match of this year's U.S. Amateur Championship. Nice crowd back, I should say, on the internet tuning in. About 1,200 viewers currently. Appreciate you tuning in. Some frustration there for Jeremy.
Well, he got fortunate. I don't think he left him an offensive shot. I mean, not a reasonable offensive shot anyway. You know what? This sounds Looney Tunes, but if he wanted to... All right, forget it. I'm not even going to tell you because you guys are going to think I'm on drugs. That was a good shot. I think he still left him side on the ball, but... I love coming up with these crazy shots, but sometimes they work. Ooh, a little bit. Wow, good shot. That showed some confidence there because he could have hit that very soft and just lobbed both to opposite sides of that 4, what is that, the 4-6? Yeah.
Started with 128 players in this year's U.S. Amateur Championship. Down to the final 2. A number of the participants have stuck around to see who comes out of this the champion. It's getting quiet. You know it's getting serious when things get quiet. Pressure just mounts as we get ever closer to that magic number of 11.
I don't think he quite got as low as he would have liked, but... No, I mean, he's fine. He can follow. I think he cut the ball a little bit too much. He could have caught that fuller. So now he's got to decide whether or not he wants to hold it and be right around there where he's standing, or punch it across. It's just whether or not you trust the pockets and feel comfortable to do it. You know what, though? You see where that 7 ball is? He missed a 9 ball that was sitting around there. a few racks ago, so I might choose to come across it just so that it's not in his mind. But I guess one ball at a time. Let's see how I think he's going to come across it. Oh, God. He caught it too full. All right, he's got to keep it together right now.
Yeah, definitely some frustration there. And how do you, I mean, again, knowing your opponent's getting so close.
I think it's just a matter of accepting the fact that it is what it is. And right now it's just a matter of, you know, if a shot comes up again, I need to be ready.
Just wait for the opportunity.
Get over it and get back in the match. Get your mind back in the match. And as long as you're thinking about what you just did, your mind's not in the match. You are not ready to win.
Right. Had a question about why Brian doesn't have to have 2 losses. Again, Brian is undefeated. Jeremy does have a loss, but once the field is narrowed down to the finals, becomes single elimination with the longer race. So we went from 7 to the race to 11 here in the finals. So,
and that's actually pretty common. I mean, as far as I know, I mean, throughout my entire career, that's the way that it's been. I don't think I've ever played in a pro event where we didn't have a single elimination final.
Brian Parks now on the hill here.
I mean, some people might think that that's not fair. He should have to lose twice also. But in the same respect, he had a much shorter road, right? He had to win half as many matches as somebody would have on the B side. And so it's not like he didn't get any benefit from staying undefeated.
And you have the extended race in the finals.
Yeah, and
The
you're
extra
also
4 games.
right.
So.
You're thinking about the sponsors and the crowd and things like that, and just having it be a controlled amount of time. I think some of the logistical parts of a tournament also play into why they ended up going that route. But it's definitely not new to pool or new to tournaments.
So Brian has the break. He has pocketed the 1 ball. Again, he needs just 1 more game here to secure his 5th championship.
All right. Pretty sure he could make this 3 ball in the side pocket. And just for safekeeping, he's got a backboard, the 4 ball right there. There you go.
3
Obviously,
goes in the side.
yeah, obviously he didn't want to hit that ball. But I'll tell you, there's not a lot of great safeties here, so you might want to just go for it. It depends. He can go 2 rails with his cue ball and leave it on the end rail, but no, he chose to go that route. Okay, nice leave.
Jeremy going to get another opportunity at the table here.
Yeah, poke and hope, poke and hope.
Now is the time. Make something special happen.
And listen, if I'm going to go for this, I'm going to hit this firm because I don't want to lob the ball and end up on the other end of earth over there and over by Brian. My cue ball sitting in his lap. I want to get my cue ball back around and have a nice shot on this 5 ball. So I'm not talking about fire 1,000,000 miles an hour, but enough speed to get the cue ball off the end rail and back up somewhere. A little bit.
Jeremy taking his time to try to devise some plan here, some way.
He's just in a tough spot. Oh my gosh. It's good. Well, this isn't a hanger. He's got a tiny bit of an angle. He's got the 8 and 5 over there. You know, and if he catches this too full, the cue ball can follow it 2 rails to the end rail and be on the wrong side of that 6 ball. If he stuns it, you know, he could and cuts it too much, you can go on the side. He's got to draw it a little bit. There you go. To stay out in the middle of the table. Look at
Watch
this.
out there, folks.
No way, Jose.
When it's going right, it's going right. And there it goes very right for Brian Parks.
With a little apologetic wave there.
You saw the crowd all stand up. They were following that ball ever so slowly to the pocket. So let's see if he can finish it up here.
I do the same thing. I do tend to wave when I get lucky, but I promise you, I am not sorry. I do it to be polite. I don't care how I win, as long as I win and it's fair. As long as it's legal, you know, I'll take everything because I am terribly competitive. Obviously, I prefer to win playing great and never missing, but I'd still rather win and get a little lucky than lose. So I don't feel too bad. I know, I'm an awful person. Here it is. Well, oh, he's still okay. Well, he's still taking his time, as he should.
And for the 5th time, folks, Brian Parks is going to be shooting on a 9-ball.
Threw in the towel.
Or he's not going to be shooting on the 9-ball as his opponent concedes that final 9-ball, and that is official, folks. Brian Parks now a 5-time U.S. amateur champion. Congratulations to him.
Thank you, guys.
Ladies and gentlemen, have a nice round of applause for both of our finalists in this year's U.S. Amateur Championship. First, your runner-up from Farmland, Indiana. Have a big round of applause for Mr. Jeremy Edwards. Jeremy Edwards, ladies and gentlemen. And your 2017 U.S. Amateur Champion, 5-time champion from Bakersfield, California, Mr. Brian Parks. Folks, we'd like to thank all of you for joining us here at Strokers this week. We want to wish all of you safe travels home. We would ask that you take care of your waitresses and bartenders here before you head home. They've taken great care of us all weekend. Make sure you let them know you appreciate it. We hope to see you again next year. Thank you.
No? Oh, whatever. I don't care. I won't need it for, I have a second extension anyway. Oh, you do? Oh, yeah.
I gave you the dang thing. All right, everybody. Thanks for joining us here for the APA U.S. Amateur Championship. I want to thank Jason Bowman and his crew, Steve, Alejandro, William Tufts, Tim. What's Tim's last name? What's Tim's last name? Tim Dyer, Nicole Dunn, and everyone here at Strokers, Jose Del Rio and his staff. Amazing. You got to come to Palm Harbor, Florida and enjoy this tournament with us. Again, go to usamateurchampionship.com and find out about it. Thanks so much. It's been a blast. World Alvin signing out. Off to another adventure. You'll hear from me sometime soon, and hopefully again next year. There's Rolando, the house man. Wow, what an awesome job he did. Look at this amazing room. We can't say it a million times. And make sure you tune back in next year. Thanks again to APA for having us here. poolplayers.com, and let them know you appreciate the stream and everything. And everybody, love you all out there. Have a great night, and I shall see you and hear from you all again soon. Thank you. Bye.